We ain't vote to get into this shit, so we won't vote to get out. We ain't vote to get into this shit, so we won't vote to get out. We ain't vote to get into this shit, so we won't vote to get out. We ain't vote to get into this shit, so we won't vote to get out.
We didn't vote to be colonized and enslaved. We didn't vote to be tamed. We didn't vote to suppress our rage and be trained. We didn't vote to be driven insane. We didn't vote to be disproportionately jailed. We didn't vote to be nailed to a cross daily and tragically killed. We didn't vote to be the guinea pigs for the birth control pill, or to be given syphilis by the soulless and denied medication while we lie ill. We didn't vote to be the first played, the last paid, and the last saved in the last days. We didn't vote to be stripped of our dignity and become afraid. We didn't vote to end fighting for liberty, for it is still necessary by any means. We didn't vote to temporarily camouflage our poverty in the stupidity of demonic dreams. And we didn't vote on the way reality is perceived, as so many of us seem to be seriously deceived. We only know what we're allowed to see, so sadly anything that's on TV is believed. We didn't vote to give the police the power to unleash a wrath that will slowly devour our people in a bloodbath, surrounding us with the reality of death until there's nothing left. Yeah, you do the math. We didn't vote to be this much miseducated. We didn't vote to be kidnapped, separated, and traded, segregated to be integrated. We didn't vote to have our sisters sexually violated. We didn't vote to have our brothers special educationally castrated, to have them both to be later incarcerated, incinerated, left totally devastated, almost dead, and forever looked upon by society as the most hated. We didn't vote. We didn't vote for the demonic blockade on Cuba. We didn't vote for the forced trumped up charges on Asada. Got these crackers so mad only 90 miles from America, and they still can't fucking touch her. So you tell me who's freer, now that's black power. We didn't vote. We didn't vote for the assassination of Malcolm and Chad, the torture of our B-suit. We didn't vote for the unlawful incarceration of Mumia. We didn't vote to sign his death warrant, so we can't just vote to stop them either. Wasn't it Malcolm who stated the ballad of the bullet? This last part about the bullet we must have forgot, because if Malcolm was alive, he wouldn't have hesitated this long to pull it. And most of these reactionary sidestepping motherfuckers would have gotten shot. Why? Cause we ain't vote to get into this shit, so we won't vote to get out. We ain't vote to get into this shit, so we won't vote to get out. We ain't vote to get into this shit, so we won't vote to get out. We ain't vote to get into this shit, so we won't vote to get out.
I want to welcome you to the People's Dinner Party. And I know you're busy. You guys got a lot going on down there in Atlanta. And one of the things that I wanted to talk about that's a hot subject that maybe not a lot of my listeners know about is the Cop City protest down there in Atlanta. Could you fill us in what's going on as far as the Cop City protest in Atlanta?
Yeah, thank you so much, brother, for having me on. I really appreciate it. Here in Atlanta, we're still in the middle and or even late stages of the battle to stop Cop City. Cop City, a militarized police training center, which over 2 years ago, was proposed by the city of Atlanta without any input from the general public. And when the general public found out, people were outraged that a whole forest or parts of a forest were going to be cut down in order to build a militarized training center, where larger parts of the community were shouting out that we want to defund the police. We want to abolish the police. We want to find alternatives for public safety. And as opposed to engaging in that discussion, the city decided to double down on perpetuating a certain amount of police violence. And so out of that struggle, which has been going on again for over 2 years, the city and the state of Georgia have basically attempted to criminalize the movement against Cop City. They've made mass arrests. They've charged over 61 people on RICO charges. They've charged well over 40 or 50 people with domestic terrorism charges and other disputed charges throughout. So they tried to criminalize this movement. People have continued to fight back, to stand
Right.
up, to push back through all kinds of strategies and tactics. And so, so this struggle is still very much alive. We're still attempting to get this project stopped. The city is committed to attempting to make it happen. And so it's still an ongoing battle here in Atlanta.
Okay. I had some friends of mine, well, mutual friends of ours, Marlon and Adele.
Yes,
Adele.
yes.
We go back a long way. I think I met them when they were teenagers, and we was a part of the Olive Branch community in DC. So we go way back. I am my beginning when I first started my first grassroots organization, tribal revolutionary ideas for Black emancipation. The people that used to help me make my flyers was both Marlon and Adele, and we lived together in that community. And I absolutely, positively am in love with both of them. Adele is like stronger than a carpenter's nail. I remember the first time we did an action together. The police department was moving some people out, evicting people. And Adele, with her little self, was like, no, the hell with that. And start grabbing furniture, bust past the cops, and start putting the furniture back into the apartment. And that was like the first time. They caught me when I was developing Suncere Ali Shakur. They caught me early, and a lot of my development, my political development, was in the Olive Branch with these guys.
Yeah.
So I'm extremely proud of them in that regard. Also, to my audience, the cops are done lost their mind during this Cop City protest. They're basically executing protesters. Kamau.
Their name is Manuel Tort Tegita, and they went by Tort, and they also go by they, them pronouns.
Yes.
They were assassinated in the forest by state troopers in a task force that consisted of not only the state troopers, but county police, Atlanta police. Some say that there were FBI that day, but basically Tort Tegita was shot over 50 times. Or over 50 bullet holes, I should say, were in their body. And the autopsy revealed that they shot in this position,
right,
crisscross.
With his hands up.
Police have put out lies trying to make Tortuguita into a Rambo figure who was throwing explosives and shooting at the police, but they shot this young person in a tent, protesting against Cop City. So we have to understand that you are completely correct. Not only is it the criminalization through arrest and charges, but is the outright murder of protesters who dare to fight back against the building of Cop City.
That little brother is a superhero to me, and the world should look at him. The sacrifice, the ultimate sacrifice that he made, is an example. And okay, now the hot topic. Now, a lot of what's going on in Atlanta, a lot of folks still don't know about. But right now, on all social media platforms, all over the media, is the slaughter of the Palestinian people by Netanyahu and the Israeli government, the IDF, and all this type of thing. And also these in part of my language, these rotten ass settlers, which the majority of them are American citizens over there, doing these disgusting things to other human beings. And not only the human beings, but the animals, the livestock there. They're harassing sheep herders. Who does that? Sicking dogs on people. I mean, it's a page out of what we went through here in America for the last 400 years with these clowns here. And I am so appalled. I'm shocked by what I'm seeing. Normally, the United States does a better job at covering up and lying to us, but this time it done drug a whole race of people in the middle of the floor and executing them while we'll watch with our tax money.
Mhm.
You
No,
know,
you're
so
exactly correct, brother. I mean,
yes,
so
sir.
the United States is a part of this genocide. They are the instigators of this genocide. They are
Right,
paying for this genocide. They are protecting the folks who are doing this genocide. The United States has blood, Palestinian blood, as
right,
well as other blood, all over its hands. It is the
right.
United States who continually within the UN denies the ability to get a ceasefire
Yes, sir.
so that the murder of Palestinians would cease.
Right,
And as we know, there's a long connection. In fact, I talked about Cop City earlier. There's
right.
a connection between the training of police in Atlanta and other major cities
Okay.
and the collaborative training with Israeli police and Israeli forces. And
Yes.
we know that the building of Cop City is going to be an extension of that training. So the same tactics and strategies that have been used for years to kill and control Palestinian populations are imported here, and the same tactics and strategies that have been used for years to
Right,
kill and control Black populations are exported over to Palestine. What we have here is a heightened situation of actual practicing genocide,
yes,
where the
sir.
removal of Palestinians from what is left of their land, right? Because all of it is their land.
Yes, sir.
But what's left of their land, they
Right,
are being pushed off, forced off, scared off. And unfortunately, it's not just the United States and Israel. You have other Arab nations that instead of coming to the rescue of Palestinians,
right,
who are remaining silent or doing solid negotiations, but not calling out Israel. And those nations include Jordan and they include Egypt.
right,
So this is something that is completely preventable. This is a genocide, again, as you stated, committed by the Israeli government in conjunction with the American government.
right, right on. I was watching yesterday on the social media that Jordan, you know, was making successful food drops. Seemed like from aircraft carriers, and that you know, I'm glad that they are getting some type of food because um, I cut my teeth in Katrina, so I
Mhm.
know I've seen what people will live like without infrastructure. You know, most importantly, food and water, and even more important than that, hope. You know, and compassion. You know,
Mhm.
those are the like number one things that I feel, you know, that is needed in a recovery effort. So, you know, I identify with that. Also, too, I want to shout out the people of Yemen. I love y'all.
Mhm.
you you don't have much, but you saying the hell with it. We're not scared of you, United States. We're not scared of you, Israel. Um, we're gonna do everything we can to block you from murdering and killing innocent men, women, and children, and bombing hospitals. You know, your ethnic cleansing, your genocide. We're gonna stand against that.
Mhm.
And I really dig Yemen right now. I love you guys, man, and shout out to you. Okay. Um, well, unfortunately, in our day and time, um, there's more than one genocide going on, and I would like to talk because I, you know, on here on the People's Dinner Party, I try to cover everything in all walks of life, and I did a lot on Palestine, but I haven't did too much what's going on in Africa,
Mhm.
and I'd like to talk about, you know, this last 10 minutes. Um, what's going on in Ethiopia? The genocide is also going on in Ethiopia.
Well, in Ethiopia, what we have here is, as the history of it goes, right? I'm not
Right.
necessarily an expert on the history.
Yes.
We have a nation state that has survived for years in terms of people relating to each other, intercultural marriage, interethnic marriage.
Okay.
But still, we have, unfortunately, the issue too of ethnicities breaking apart and going to war with each other.
Mhm.
And according to some, some of that is purposeful because some of that leads to the disintegration of a state that was actually the home of Pan-Africanism at one point.
Right on.
So there is a lot that's going on in terms of the dynamics between the Tigray and the Amara and other ethnic groups at this particular time. And again, some of it is around issues of self-determination, as we had with the Rachir. And some of it is around regional disputes in terms of being in control of land and being in control of resources and make sure resources are equally distributed to different regions of the place. And then we have the idea that the Ethiopian military itself, which at one point some would say was fighting maybe somewhat of a just war to stop certain factions of the Tigray from entering the capital or getting close to the capital. But now, according to other experts that I've listened to, they've gone, some are suggesting that it's gone too far in terms of not only Tigray, but other ethnic groups. And so, we have a system here that is tearing apart a nation state again.
Right.
At one point was the home of Pan-Africanism. And so the question becomes whether or not there's a plausible way for these ethnicities to resolve issues and remain a nation state,
right?
Or is it more plausible that they will be breaking up, which I don't think will happen anytime soon?
Yes, sir.
Will they be breaking up and after that stage have relationships with each other and still figure out shared resources? Africa is going through a turbulent time. We have French Africa, or the Sahel, which is broken away from some European colonialism, and they are trying to organize to revamp and restructure their economy so that they can survive without the French exploiting them. And so you have these movements that are developing there. You have genocide happening in the Congo.
Right.
You have all of this the stuff that's happening because Africa is, in a sense, parts of Africa is waking up. Africa will be at one point the most populous continent on the planet. And it's a place where economies are growing. So we have to think about, particularly from a Pan-Africanist point of view, even from a scientific socialist point of view, what is best for the continent? What is best for the nation states? How do they overthrow and push out imperialism? How do they overthrow and push out U.S. Military structures that are in Africa? And then how do they get together and start settling their issues and problems without the Europeans, without the Americans, in a way that seems fair, just, and it redistributes resources to the people themselves?
Absolutely. And, and on top of that, we owe Ethiopia a lot. I mean, a lot. It's just, and also too, was I found, funny now that I'm thinking about it, the oldest known Bible on the planet is in Ethiopia, and it's being attacked. Jerusalem and Bethlehem, the place where Jesus was born and raised, that is also being attacked. But, where I draw a void at is like a blank is, where are all the Christians? Where are all the Black churches in America? Why are you not standing up? Why are you not saying more? Especially these mega churches that can afford to say something, that can afford to send supplies and help, that have some type of political influence. Where are you at? You need to stand up, and then we got the new Bob Marley movie coming out, that has come out, The One Love. I mean, you're promoting the movie. Well, how come you're not talking about the genocide in Ethiopia? That's a direct relation to your politics. Sir, I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I'm saying, how come we're not promoting Bob's politics? The politics of Bob, the politics of Peter Tosh and the people that Bob worked with.
Yes.
The politics about one world revolution where the poor could eat, right? Where armies of the rich would be defeated. We're not talking about Bob's politics, and that's purposeful.
Right.
And that goes back to the idea about why the churches are not involved. Our churches have been depoliticized.
Yes.
They've been made to believe that acquiring individual wealth is somehow what's going to set us free as a larger people. They've been made to believe that they should go get their own. And that separates us from our people. They're scared to jump in the fray. Right? You have conservative Christian churches which have jumped into the fray on the side of Israel because they believe it fulfills some foolish prophecy that having Europeans colonize Palestinian land will somehow bring back a Jesus figure, right? Black churches who have been maneuvered by Israel propaganda to do trips and to have journeys over there and bring young people.
And Homeland Security.
And Homeland Security, that Israel is somehow their friend.
Right.
That's why it's so great that young people, Black, white, Latino, Asian, all over the world, not just the United States, all over the world, are fighting back through the shield of propaganda that the United States, Israel, and the European Union has put out. And they've, with all the issues of social media, they've been able to break through by using social media, not getting their information from corporate news channels, but break
Right.
through. In all my time period of being a supporter of the Palestinian liberation struggle, I've never seen this level of support all around the world. And that only could have happened without people breaking away and seeing another narrative besides the settler colonial narrative that the United States, again, and Israel put out there to the world.
On a more spiritual, level, because many people know that I identify as an indigo child. And my hope is that all the people that are suffering in this day and time is the catalyst to bring us into what most people identify as the Christ consciousness. Hopefully these people that are being sacrificed, for capital gain, that can hopefully this tragedy that we can see that's not being hidden from us, bring us together as a people. And hopefully one of these days we can end unnecessary suffering all over the planet. Okay, look, I got about 2-3 minutes with you, and I don't want you to go without telling us more about the Community Movement Builders Incorporated.
Well, yeah, you could just say Community Movement Builders. So we are a grassroots organization with approximately 7 chapters across the country.
Wow.
Our organization fights around issues of self-determination for Black people. We try to develop cooperatives, liberation programs, i.e. mutual aid programs, solidarity funds to keep people in their homes. So we try to work at the level of in the community to organize people so that we can all fight for our rights, fight for resources, fight for control over resources in our community. And so that is the large majority of work that we do. We have a build and fight strategy. So we will fight the state when it attempts to delegitimize our struggle, our people, when it tries to use the resources that we actually give to it to oppress us. But we're also builders, right? We also are attempting to build different forms of structures that we as a people can control that could be models for others to implement, and are models for us ourselves to build out on, to show that we can build other things beyond the structures that they try to fit us in. So, we're trying our best. We're not that big of an organization in general, but we do try our best to create these models and to make sure that we are in the fight for our people.
Look, one, I'd like to thank you so very much for all the work that you've been doing over the last 30-something years, working in the trenches, trying to help elevate and free our people here in America and all over the planet, I also would like to thank Mr. Kamau, Mr. Kamau Franklin, for coming to the People's Dinner Party and in his busy schedule, because they're going through a lot. There's a lot going on behind the scenes that we haven't even covered, but we'll leave it there. Comrade, I want to thank you for coming to the People's Dinner Party and blessing us with your time and your energy. If there's anything that I can do, because I'm here in Cleveland, Ohio, I got some things here that I'm dealing with. Around the clock. I live in the projects of Cleveland, Ohio, and it's a mess up here. I've seen things here that I never knew really existed as far as struggle goes, sex trafficking, sexual assaults and all this type of thing. It's in one of the poorest small cities in the United States. We're fighting against child hunger, and so much more. But I really want to thank you for coming out to the People's Dinner Party. And yeah, man, if you need me, I'm here.
Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate you having me. Thank you.
We ain't vote to get into into this shit, so we won't vote to get out. We ain't vote to get into this shit, so we won't vote to get out. We ain't vote to get into this shit, so we won't vote to get out. We ain't vote to get into this shit, so we won't vote to get out.
We didn't vote to be colonized and enslaved. We didn't vote to be tamed. We didn't vote to suppress our rage and be trained. We didn't vote to be driven insane. We didn't vote to be disproportionately jailed. We didn't vote to be nailed to a cross daily and tragically killed. We didn't vote to be the guinea pigs for the birth control pill, or to be given syphilis by the soulless and denied medication while we lie ill. We didn't vote to be the first played, the last paid, and the last saved in the last days. We didn't vote to be stripped of our dignity and become a